Hey everybody, welcome to the show. And my name's Richard, and we're going to be talking about your first bike when you've passed your test. And I recommend the GSXR 600, but let's go back a bit in time. I used to play the flute, and I had a bit of a cheap flute when I started out, and that's okay, that's what happens. And then when I moved into my older years, not that long ago actually, I ended up buying a more expensive flute. Motorcycles are transient. You end up buying one and then you buy another a year later and another a year later. And what you need to do is stop doing this. You need to go and buy the machine that will allow you to learn for a long period of time. And this comes back to the flute. When people have asked me what flute they should buy for their children that are learning, I always say, don't buy the cheaper flute because you'll end up being transient to get to the right flute. And I always used to recommend what was the Yamaha YFL 311, which works out brand new at about £800. It's been replaced now with the 312. But you know, so I would recommend that they bought a second-hand YFL 311 for about £500, and that flute will allow that person who's going through a steep learning curve to really excel and go through their exams for the flute at a really high level. They won't be messing around with lots of different flutes. Just get a real quality flute. Go and get the right flute the first time. Now, a couple of people have took my advice and they've said that was wonderful advice, and their kid is playing the flute as per what they expected over the years and all that good stuff. The point here is stop being transient in the motorcycles that you're buying. You pass your test, you go and buy the first bike. A year later, you trade it in and go and get the next bike. A year later, you trade it in and go and get the next bike. What I'm recommending here is, and this will be controversial, put the comments in the below, is when you've passed your test, if you're looking for a second-hand machine, you could get something like this for about £3,000. This was £3,250, and it's got 14,000 miles on it, and it needs a couple of things doing to it, but that's only things like new tyres. But what I'm saying is, this will last a rider until for 5 years at least. Stop being transient. Stop buying new bikes. Stop replacing them every year. There's so much you can learn on this bike from passing your test and then moving forward over the years ahead. This bike will allow you to grow gently into being a much better rider and an experienced rider. So, what would people think about me saying that? Now, this bike is my son's bike, and he's 24, and he's about to take his test, and he will be riding this as his first bike having taken his test. I wasn't too sure, but I've sat down and thought about it, and I've thought, he's going to be reasonable when he's riding it on the road. He's then going to learn, and then the bike will allow him to stretch himself further. And if he wants to take a track day, that's fine, but that's something else. That's something else. Track days are something else. But this bike will allow him to push himself in his learning curve to become a really experienced rider. As long as he's got a smart head on him, he'll not do anything stupid on it, like popping wheelies every 2 minutes, or going round a bend that he just can't push round. The bike's capable, but you end up losing your balls, and then you end up coming off on a corner. The bike is usually more than capable of going round a corner at whatever speed it is. It's you that loses the balls. So, if I was just passing my test now, I would be looking for a bike that lasts me maybe 3 to 5 years. There's no use in getting 1,000 because they're just ridiculous and they're too heavy. But the beauty about the GSXR 600 or the Yamaha R6 They're lightweight machines. They're okay from an economy perspective. I guess if you rode this gently, you probably get 40 plus to the gallon. But you've got to remember it's a performance engine. So, but it allows you to really stretch your learning curve to become that experienced rider that you want to become. Yeah? I don't know what your thoughts are. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Please put comments below and let's start a conversation. I'll see you very soon. Safe riding, shiny side up. Let's wait for the next video. Cheers then. Bye bye.